Hey there, it's Vicki Marie. I want to welcome you back to my channel today, and welcome if you're new. I've gotten some new subscribers here, and I'm so excited about that. And I hope that you're enjoying the self-care sort of reset that I'm doing this month. We have just about 2 more weeks to it, and I've just been sort of weaving in some self-care tips throughout my videos. And I like to sort of roll with the day and just see what, kind of keep them flowing in sync with my actual life, so it feels a little more natural, and that's my goal here. So yeah, so hopefully this doesn't feel too much like a talky talk or a lecture, because that's not my intention at all. But looking back, I know sometimes I can get in that mode because I get so focused. I wrote some notes, so I remember to share with you the things I want to share, but I can tend to kind of go off into a tangent and off track. So I've heard people say it's like a squirrel moment where you get distracted. And at my age, I can definitely feel that I am not as focused as I once was. But that's okay. This is all about embracing where we're at and not being so hard on ourselves and lightening up. And that's what I'm attempting to do here on my channel. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about journaling, because I'd mentioned journaling before, and I've talked about journaling quite a bit because if you have followed me for a while, I've been journaling since I was 11 years old. So journaling is one of those things that it's either something that works for you or it doesn't. So I never say everybody should journal, and sometimes journaling just means, I mean, I've done it so many different ways, so many different ways. So, but I thought I would share an experience with you, a practical experience that has happened this week that reminded me of the importance of journaling. And my husband is why he's so thankful that I do journal. So, so I thought I would share that story with you, and then just talk a little bit about the benefits of journaling. Now, I think most of us have heard about journaling, and I just want you to know it does not have to be complicated. It can be a very simple thing, and it can take just a few minutes a day, and just where you just kind of declutter your mind. Just declutter. We've talked about that, just the power of decluttering and feeling like that expanded, spacious feeling. I think for me, that feels so good, whether I'm walking into a room or now there are times I like cozy, don't get me wrong. I do like cozy. And sometimes just I love cluttered rooms with books and things like that. Like I love that comfortable kind of cluttered feeling too. I don't want an environment that's too sterile, if you know what I mean. And so I kind of go back and forth, and I'm not a minimalist, but there are times when I do need to unclutter my environment, declutter my environment, just to sort of give me a reset so I can step back and look at things in a fresh way. And I think that's the power of decluttering. It gives you the space to see things in a new way and shifts your perspective. So that's what journaling does for me. I can just really get focused on something and it just bugs me and I just can't get it out of my mind. And I want to verbally process it with John, my husband, of like we're going on 38 years of marriage, and we've been together for about 43 years, I think, total. And he will tell you that once I have my morning coffee, I can just chat. And if something triggers me, like if I'm reading an article or I've watched a news report or something that really kind of triggers me, my mind just wants to work on it. I just can't stop talking about it. And so one of the things I do is I just go journal. I get my notebook and I'll just get a pen and just scribble. Sometimes it could be to, uh, let's say, for instance, if there's a report about something in our paper, like recently, we had a big article about what they're calling the unhomed, I think, unhoused. What we sometimes call homeless, but they're now calling unhoused in our area, and they just did this huge thing in our community. And I won't go into details because that's not the important part. But the thing is, it's a very, in our community, it's been a big problem and people cannot come together and decide on what to do. And so it got under my skin. And so I just I actually went to my computer and I journaled online, but sometimes I get a notebook and a pen and I just write instead of just venting to John and saying, oh, why can't we come up with a solution? We could do this, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this. Yes, I could go to our city council meeting, which there was a meeting, and I may end up doing that to voice what my opinion is. But the thing is, and not my opinion, I don't think that's a place to voice our opinions. I feel like we need to get all of our head cleared and vent, get all that vented out, clear our heads, and then think of some real solutions. But I couldn't get to that point because I was just so frustrated. And this has happened to me lately in a couple of different areas uh, of my life. And journaling is what really helps me. So I watch these videos that are beautiful videos, and I've done a couple where, you see this very nicely dressed, person, usually a woman, and either in really comfy clothes, but they're very pleasing to look at, and they look very soft and comfortable. And they walk into this room, or they're sitting on this beautiful sofa or at this table with a candle lit. I did one of these camping, but I was sitting at my camping table and I was journaling in my happy camper book, where I journal all of my camping trips for a very practical reason. So as we plan our trips, I remember what it was like to camp there. And I had my little drink sitting next to me, and I had this little candle lit, and I was sitting at the table. That really was authentic. It really was. I didn't like set that up. Oftentimes I have my candles, and usually they're fake candles because of John's allergies, and I won't go into that, but they're just like a battery operated candle. They're so pretty. Like, they really have some pretty ones now. And something to drink. And and sometimes it's a nice cozy looking cup, and sometimes I'm in something that looks comfy and it matches and it looks good. But oftentimes, like the other morning when this whole thing happened with the news report, it was actually, I don't know if I said it was this morning, it was yesterday morning actually. And here I'm not even dressed for the day. I haven't combed my hair, no makeup, and I'm like, I need to go journal. So I went to my journal, and I just stream of consciousness journaling took me about not even 5 minutes. And I ended up typing out this quite a bit of information just out of the top of my head. And then I realized, wow, I could turn this into a letter to send to city council, or to have somebody, like, I could actually go and read it. I'd have to tweak it a bit, but it really helped me to clear my head and come up with some sort of, I don't know, solutions so that I could shut off my brain, because my brain just, I'm a worrier. I'm wired to worry. And if I see an obstacle or a problem, big or small, I want to work it out so we can sort of, get back to life. And that's how journaling helps. All those times we worry about our kids, and like, I have grown kids, and I worry, and I know that it's really not my place to interfere in their life, but I might have opinions about some of their choices, and I worry that they're going to do the right. And I have great kids, they make really great decisions, and most of my worrying is needless. And they're both in really good places right now. Although I do wish my son would find somebody, but anyway, that's just how it goes. And I worry and I can't shut it off. And journaling has really, really helped me. Sometimes I'll write a letter to one of my kids, and I know I'm not going to send it. I know I'm not, but I'll just get it all out. Rather than talking to him and just trying to vent what I think or feel, I will just write a letter, dear son, dear daughter, and I'll just say everything on my mind. And then when I'm done, I just rip it up and throw it away. I don't need to send it. And most of it, I realize, is like, okay, that's really not my business. Okay, yeah, you do not need to send this. Okay, there might be one thing in there that makes sense that I could, maybe share with them, but this is what I do. And it has been such a godsend, I have to tell you. Now, I have gotten up in the middle of the night before, and I'm a person of faith and I pray a lot. And there was something on my mind, and it was weighing so heavily on me that I got up in the night and I wrote a letter to God, and just and yes, I could just pray. I could pray, but writing it down adds an extra element. and it really does force us, I think, especially if you're writing by hand, which this night I was. Sometimes I type, sometimes I write by hand. But normally, if I'm going to write a letter to God or the universe, I write it by hand because it gives me a chance to really slow down and speak more from the heart than just a bunch of chitter chatter from my mind. Although that comes in handy too. But those things that really, really keep us up at night. Sometimes that's really helped me is just to get up in the night. And no, it's not a pretty scene, but I wanted to share that with you. I mean, usually I'm just getting through my day and I'm pretty casual and I am getting ready to go work out. So I have a t-shirt on and my hair's up, which is normally how I look when I do videos because I try to fit them in early in the day. I start off and I working out and exercising is a very important thing for me. But so is journaling. I don't do it every day. I used to journal almost every day, and I don't need to. And there are times now that John's retired that I have my coffee and I'll just talk with him about things. But normally there are things that I feel like I have ideas to bring to the table, not just venting, but every now and then, like this week, I guess I call it getting triggered, where there's something that feels so big and I feel so helpless, but I can't stop worrying about it, whether it's my kids, whether it's a family member. Um, our minds fill in the blanks when there's something. I call it a disturbance in the field or the disturbance in the force. Yeah, I keep him close. Like I feel like there's a disturbance in the force. I do end up for a little while just sort of spinning my wheels, and I'm trying to work something out, trying to figure out what I really think about that and how I really feel about that, not just regurgitating a bunch of sound bites that I've heard. Like, I really want to know how I feel. Sometimes I think people think of camping, and when the kids were little, we took the kids camping and we fished and we did all these things, and we still do all those things. But for me, it's always been about just getting off the grid, getting away from the noise of life and reconnecting and hearing our heart, like really listening with the heart. That's what journaling does for me. And that's what camping does for me. And that's why I wanted to talk with you about that today. And camping's fresh on my mind because I just got back from a trip. I'm working on a video. I thought I would just kind of just share. I'm going to do that on a separate video. So if you're interested in that, you can watch it. But if you're not interested in it, you don't have to. And that'll be coming up, but I am in the process of editing that video. So that's what I wanted to share today, like just the nitty gritty of journaling, behind the scenes journaling, not this pretty journaling that you see in these really gorgeous videos, which I do, let me tell you, I love to watch. They're very inspiring. But let's not wait until we have the perfect candle and the perfect journal and the perfect pen and the quiet day where we can sit and journal and with a smile on our face. Sometimes journaling just looks like getting up in the middle of the night with your hair disarrayed, uh, and 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 your breath bad because you haven't brushed your teeth, and red-eyed maybe because you weren't sleeping, and you just go to your computer or you go to your notebook and you just let it all out. Now, if you are getting started with journaling, I always recommend Julia Cameron's work with morning pages. It's in her book, The Artist Way. It's a beautiful way to get started, and there's tons of information online. So if you just Google morning pages, there's so much. And she teaches a very simple way to get started, and I highly recommend that if you're new to journaling. And hey, if journaling doesn't work for you, that's okay. We'll talk about some other things that we can use. And journaling's not for everyone, and I get that. Don't force yourself to journal. If at my age, it's like, okay, there's certain things that don't work for me, and I know that. Don't force yourself to journal if it's not for you. But if you think it might help, give it a try. And I hope this video has helped you, and we can all just easily get started with implementing just these simple little things in our life that can make a big difference. Well, I want to thank you so much for being with me and spending a little time with me today. And remember, self-care is not a one size fits all. We have to figure out what works for us. And I hope these videos give you some idea and some inspiration. And please keep your comments coming because I've been reading them. I'm catching up with them. I have some really great comments. So do check out the comment section of my videos and join the conversation and reach out to each other if you want to, because there's some questions in there. I do want to come back and I'm going to do a video on sort of a Q&A, and I'm going to be going through some of my comments and answering them and also asking you to give your advice, because some people have said, is anybody else in the community having this particular issue? And so I want to address that. So I do want to do another video on that. So stay tuned. We'll be doing that in the next couple weeks as we wrap up this self-care reset month. So thank you so much for being here. I hope you're doing well. Take care.